Hello and welcome back to our channel Investment Ventures, where we bring you investment ideas and educational videos related to the stock market. Disclaimer is being flashed on the screen. Do like, share and subscribe to our social media channels. Join us on Telegram, Facebook and YouTube primarily because most of our videos will now be released on YouTube first and then the other channels. So what we have for you today is very interesting. We will talk about 4 ACE investor portfolios, what their moments have been over this last quarter, where their major investments are, and what investment ideas can we generate from their existing portfolios. So let's look at who these 4 investors are. The first one is Rakesh Damani, who is RK Damani, founder of DMart. Then we have the Warren Buffett of India, that's Rakesh Jhunjunwala. Then we have Ashish Dhawan and Ashish Kacholya. Both these investors focus on multi-baggers. Particularly Ashish Dhawan and Ashish Kacholya have been focusing on small cap multi-baggers over the last few years and have a current portfolio size between 1200 to 1300 crores. Rakesh Junjinwala is close to 20,000 crores and RK Damani, of course, because of his holdings in DMart, is sitting somewhere close to the 150,000, 1,50,000 crore mark. First, we'll look at RK Damani. So, if I look at his portfolio, he's got a very restricted portfolio, which a major chunk of this being in Avenue Supermarts, which is the holder of the brand DMart and the grocery chain. Now, 1,38,000 crores value comes primarily from DMart, and the rest comes from the other 16, 17 odd holdings that are there in his portfolio. From this, what really stands out for us, where we would like to focus on, is India Cements, Jubilant Foodworks. Now, cements, before I go to Jubilant Foodworks, cements, of course, we have talked about it even on our Telegram channel, that cement as a sector as a whole is doing well, and it will continue to do well with the infrastructure story building up in India. Then we have Jubilant Foodworks. This is an amazing stock. The only drawback is it is trading at very high valuations currently. And it is the owner of Dunkin' brands as well as Domino's in India. Then we also like 3M from this portfolio. 3M India is a manufacturer of medical supplies, packagings, as well as office supplies. A lot of products 3M has. Then we have Blue Dart Express. We have Metropolis Healthcare. Blue Dart, of course, is into logistics and courier services. Metropolis is a healthcare chain for your testing laboratories, COVID testing, any generic testing also. And then out of the other portfolios, we also have Kaya Limited. Kaya is into personal care, so hair and care as well. It's actually a Marico brand, and it's not been doing too well on the bourses. But RK Damani picked this up during the COVID crash that happened in March at very low valuations of 120 rupees a share. It is currently at 340, and it has seen highs close to of 2000 also. So overall, having looked at his portfolio, we have one pick which is India Cements, and the other one would be 3M India from this portfolio. Even if we were to invest at this current prices, I'm sure RK knows best, but if I were to invest, I would pick up these two from this list at this point in time. Like I said, I do like Jubilant, I do like Blue Dart, we do like Metropolis, but the valuations are expensive at this point of time. So the next slide is going to tell you what additions and deletions Mr. RK Damani has done, and he has added on to his portfolio of India Cements. He's added on to VST Industries. He's added on to Jubilant, and he's trimmed down his holdings very minor in Metropolis, then in Blue Darts, Spencer Retail, and Trent. So if you see both the retail holdings, he's trimmed it down. But of course, since he holds D-Mart, which is his major chunk, this is understandable. Okay, let's move on to the next investor that we have. That's Rakesh Jhunjunwala. Now, his wealth mainly comes from Titan, and he has invested way back, I think decades back, into Titan at very low valuations, and this has just kept on growing and growing and growing. Titan was one major one, and then CRISIL was the other major one where he really made a lot of money. Now, this portfolio is independent of Mr. Rakesh Junjinwala, but he, along with his wife Rekha Junjunwala, he has very similar holdings, and of course the number of shares in totality would be more than what is listed out here. But compared to Mr. RK Damani, he has a lot more scrips in his portfolio, and from this, what really stood out for us was Indian Hotels, which he has invested in again during COVID times. I think he picked up the stock between 77 to 87 rupees. Around that level, it is currently today at 125. It would still be a buy. So if for those of you who don't know Indian Hotels owns the Taj brand. So Vivanta as well as Taj Lands Inn, all those hotels are owned by the Indian Hotels Group, which is nothing but the Tata Group actually. It's bundled under the Indian Hotels Company Limited. He also picked up Tata Motors around 125, 135 at that level. It was a super pick. It could still be, but it has gone up significantly from the 125, 135 levels. It is today at 345. If Tatas get into electric vehicles, which they are doing so, and the growth continues, the story continues as it has been, the script could even double from here, even from the 345 levels. But Mr. Junjunwala picked it up around the 125, 135 level. And the other company that stood out for us was Bilecare. Now, it's a very, very small cap, micro cap, I would say. It's a 131 crore company. That's the only hesitation I have with Bilecare. But to let you know about the products, it makes packaging as well as clinical supplies for the pharmaceutical industry. So it makes those capsule packs as well as any other packaging material for the pharmaceutical industry. It is a Pune-based company, and it has seen highs of 1500 and 1600, but it is currently at 51 rupees, which is at low valuations. I do not have too much of history on the company, but it just caught our eye because he has significantly increased his stake there in this last quarter. And so is it reflecting even in his wife's portfolio. So if I look at the additions and deletions, you can see Bilecare was the biggest addition that he had, followed by Anantraj, Workhard. So these are in terms of percentage, but probably the value wise it could be different, because if this is a small value company, then the value holding would be less than, let's say, any other company. But notable names here are Bilecare, and then what we liked really was Indian Hotels, also from this. Tata Communications also has been good, but it has rallied quite a bit recently. The ones where he is trimmed are Titan. Now, since his portfolio is really large in Titan, he could be trimming down stake in Titan and investing in the new ideas, which doesn't reflect that Titan is a bad idea currently. Rallis is also a good stock. It is owned by Tata Chemicals, so it's a subsidiary of Tata Chemicals. It is into the fertilizer industry and crop protection and those kind of products. And then Fortis Healthcare, which is of course healthcare, hospitals and all that. Okay, let's move on to Ashish Dhawan. Also, he's got a concentrated portfolio, not too many stocks, which is good. And his major holding is Max Healthcare. Now, from this, what we actually like 3 companies from his holdings, and we have also covered this in our other video, which is on the IT sector. So the first one we like here is Birlasoft, and he has got a significant stake here based on his portfolio size. So around 233 crores invested in Birlasoft. The next one is Zensa Technologies. Again, 87 crores invested in Zensa, which is also another stock we like. Mr. Ashish Dhawan would have invested this at lower valuation, but even as on, why we are covering this is because even as on date, if we were to make an investment, I wouldn't hesitate picking up a Birlasoft or a Zensar at this point of time. And the third name that we really like is HSIL, which is into sanitary ware products and bathroom fittings, those kind of tiles. So HSIL is known, Hindustan Sanitary Ware as it was known earlier. Great company, great products, and has a lot of growth lying ahead for it. So he hasn't trimmed his holdings anywhere, but if you see HSIL, he's really increased his shareholdings. Arvind Fashions, RPSG Ventures, and Zensa Technologies. So, like I said, if we were to pick, it would be HSIL and Zensar from this lot. Okay, so last investor we have is Mr. Ashish Kacholya. Now, his holdings are also concentrated. He doesn't have too many stocks, which is good. And from this list, again, if we were to pick, one name is the same name, that is Birlasoft. Even Ashish Kacholya's holdings are 151 crores in Birlasoft. So at 233, I wouldn't hesitate in investing in Birlasoft. I think there's a lot of growth ahead for that company. And the other one we like is Kaplan Laboratories. Now this makes injectables, it makes soft gel capsules, again related to the pharmaceutical industry. It makes capsules, it makes medicines where other chemicals can be mixed with it. So it makes the shells basically. It makes injectables, where there's a lot of demand in Latin America for injectables. So that's the other company that we would consider even at this point in time, because pharmaceutical has a lot of runway ahead, so does IT. Although we do like NIT, but NIT was also just for the buyback story. It's not something that we would want to buy and hold, because we see a lot of insiders are selling stake in NIT. So right now I wouldn't get into NIT unless I have already bought that stock and I want to tender in the buyback, but that date is gone. So would not consider that at this point in time. All right. I think these were the 4 investors that we wanted to cover for today. Okay, let me cover this last slide. So if you see, he's increased his holdings in Porsche, Kaplan, IOL Chemicals, Beta Drugs, a lot of pharma focus here. Out of this, we'd go with Kaplan. And then he's trimmed his holdings in Mastech, Polymedicare, and Moltech Packaging. All right, that's it for today. Stay tuned for other videos. We do have some interesting topics coming up, basic investment strategies for the stock market, options trading, advanced option strategies. Do follow us on Telegram, Facebook, and of course primarily YouTube, because that's where we will release our videos first. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for more.